Welcome back. The House passing a continuing resolution yesterday that would avert a government shutdown should it pass the Senate, which is likely. 336 lawmakers voted for the two-step proposal, which would fund part of government until January 19th and the rest until February 2nd. House Speaker Mike Johnson getting overwhelming Democrat support in passing that bill. Over 90 Republicans, however, voted against it. Johnson released this statement afterwards. The passage of today's continuing resolution puts House Republicans in the best position to fight for conservative policy victories. Joining me right now is Florida Congresswoman Paulina Luna. She's a member of the House Oversight Committee. Congresswoman, do you agree with that?
I mean, I can tell you that he's very new at the job, but I was very disappointed to see the CR go through. You know, I wasn't for the CR under McCarthy. In fact, my family was willing to give up our salary to really work through some of these issues and have those tough conversations during a potential government shutdown. So unfortunately it went through, but it wasn't good back then and it's not good now.
So you voted against it?
Yes, ma'am.
What happens now? Do you expect it to pass the Senate? And what are the priorities, do you believe, in the House going forward?
Yeah, so as far as we're hearing, I do think that it will pass in the Senate. Right now, the House is actually working on finishing those appropriation bills, those single standalone bills. And frankly, that's something that getting back to regular order, obviously, these are growing pains that the American people are witnessing us go through. But, you know, again, going back to the real reason why I ran for office and why many of my colleagues voted against this is we don't want any more spending in Washington. And it seems as though that's kind of just been how Washington has functioned over the last decade. And so we are trying to break from what would be considered normal up here and do our jobs.
The Speaker also reportedly told moderate Republicans there is insufficient evidence to start impeachment proceedings against President Biden. He wants lawmakers to take their time, he said, not rush to any conclusions, Congresswoman. When former Speaker Kevin McCarthy was removed, you said you would only back a new speaker willing to bring up a vote on impeachment. Where do things stand today?
Correct. I actually still stand by that. And that question was actually asked of Speaker Johnson on a conference call that we had on Sunday. And ultimately, he said that was misreported, that he still backs an impeachment inquiry, and he still wants to allow Representative Comer and Jordan as well to do what they're doing in the subpoenas, bring the evidence forward, but that he did indeed back that. And so he did say that was misinformation.
So what can you tell us about this investigation? You're on oversight. You've been seeing some of the evidence that you have talked with us about, including the 20 shell companies that Vice President Joe Biden set up while in office, or the 176 suspicious activity reports, or the witness testimony. What do you believe is the most damning evidence that you've seen in terms of potential bribery and money laundering or influence peddling, which are the terms that your chairman, James Comer, have used?
I mean, as of right now, for me, I think the smoking gun was when you had whistleblowers come forward to the FBI. The FBI, as you know, famously tried to hide that redacted document from us and ultimately stated that there was either recordings that existed of Joe Biden being on some of these calls and or having information that this administration and family had been brokering these deals while then Vice President was in office. And also to remember, there was 10% for the big guy being Joe Biden. I do believe that we have enough evidence to move forward and bring that vote to the floor right now. But we also just issued, and by we I mean Chairman Comer issued more subpoenas in an effort to bring forward some more evidence. And I do believe, Maria, that we will likely see that vote come forward probably sometime in January timeframe after the holidays.
What are you expecting in terms of these subpoenas and these witness testimonies? Hunter Biden got a subpoena. When will he go under oath?
Well, that's exactly something that I think Chairman Comer needs to apply pressure on, and he's been doing as such. But, you know, I would hope to get these people in front of Congress. I'm frankly tired of the fact that people look at our subpoenas that go out and they really don't respect us. It seems like they think that the Republican-held majority is a joke and that they don't have to answer to Congress. And so, one, I'm very interested in seeing what exactly conversations took place with Joe Biden and Hunter Biden on the phone. I think that it's going to be incredibly important to access some of those bank records. records. But again, I mean, we have to start these proceedings because it does feel like for a long time we have been stonewalled. And I think once the American people have full transparency and we can conduct these in a very public form and setting, I think that that's when we'll see more of the information come forward. But again, I've been a huge advocate for this, and I do think that we need to proceed forward. And as you saw yesterday in some of the hearings, it is getting pretty contentious up here in Washington. And I think, you know, tensions are at an all-time high.
Well, you introduced a bill yesterday which would stop foreign adversaries from accessing or exploiting Americans' personal data. It specifically prohibits TikTok and Facebook and Instagram from storing any citizen data in a physical data center located within a foreign adversary like China, Cuba, Iran, North Korea, or Russia. Tell us more about this. We know that surveillance is skyrocketing in America, whether it's from the Communist Party or from these social media companies.
Most certainly. So, you know, my background was in social media, and one of the biggest, it seems like a form of new currency right now, is information on the American people, whether it's for corporate marketing or whether it's targeting for elections or even whether it's nefarious. And so what we're finding is these platforms like TikTok are actually collecting data on the users. They are owned and operated by countries that don't have an invested interest in seeing the United States or Western culture as a whole survive and succeed. And ultimately, what my bill is hoping to do is protect that information of American users, of that data, which, in my opinion, is probably some of the most useful and also precious information that we currently have in this digital age.
Yeah, it's a very important issue. Thanks for taking it on. Congresswoman, it's good to see you this morning. Thank you.